Hey everybody, to today's live session. We thought long and hard about some of the challenges that apiary traders tend to have, and thought that it would be a great opportunity for us to get on here, jump on live, answer some of your guys' questions, but also throw out a few of the common questions that we get about the different steps that it takes to get into a funded account. My name's Dave, and I also have with us here John. John is actually been with us for just a little bit of time, and he's actually been trading, and so thought that he has some of the same, he's going through some of the same things that you've gone through, some of the same things that we all experience as we start trading. And so John has been with us for, does kind of our videos, but I thought it would be great to have him on this side of the camera for once, to kind of have a little bit of back and forth, answer some questions, ask me some questions about what it takes to actually get into a funded account. Now, I think there might be two types of people watching this video. One, the people that are going through Beeline, and maybe two, the people who have no idea what Beeline to funding is. And so I want to start with just that real quick. You see, at Apiary Fund, we give everybody the opportunity to trade our money. But we don't just hand out our money to anybody and everybody off the street. You got to kind of have a little bit of education experience before we start handing over live money to trade with. And so we've come up with a great systematic approach to proving that you're a profitable trader, and that is what we call Beeline to funding. It's a gamification process that you go through, that as you click off each achievement, you get one step closer to funding. And we put it in badges where you start with copper, bronze, silver, and then once you finally hit gold level 3, it unlocks your funded account, and now you're trading real money, our money. So today we wanted to kind of gear our conversation towards what are the challenges, what are the steps, what's it all involved in helping you to get into a funded account that much quicker, because that's the end result, right? Everybody's at Apiary Fund because they want to get funded. Yeah. Everybody's here because they want to trade our money and make money in the process. We might all have our different reasons for what we're going to do with the money, but at the end of the day, I think everybody's here because they want to have the opportunity to make money with our money, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's start out with maybe let John kind of introduce himself real fast, and you guys can get acquainted and get to know him really quick, and then have him start asking a few questions.
So first of all, thank you to everybody saying hello, John. Hello, right on back to you. It's really great to meet all of you through this chat. So yeah, I mean, I had my reservations coming into Apiary Fund, as I've seen a lot of people do, because there is that element where, like, oh, it seems too good to be true, and you could be forgiven for making that assumption, but learning it really is primarily an education platform, to my understanding, and it's like when you go through that Beeline to funding, when you reach the end and you graduate, you really have earned the right to trade with Apiary's money. And that seems totally fair, because, I mean, you wouldn't just give somebody your money if you didn't know them and trust them what they could do with your finances. So it's a really good arrangement that works for both sides, I feel.
Yeah, it's kind of a win-win situation, right?
Mm-hmm. But you have to prove yourself. You have to put in the work, because this isn't a handout. You need to actually put in the work and learn, because it is really an education platform. And myself, going through a master's degree that's online, I've noticed a lot of similarities between the Beeline to funding and some of these classes that I'm taking online. So as an education platform, I think it's quite legit.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, because I myself kind of sat through and did the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm able to help a lot of traders, and I get to meet a lot of traders that are summits, that are boot camps, and when they just pop in and say hi. And I'm generally going to sit down and work with one-on-one, because I did the same thing, right? I mean, of course you have Sean that practically taught himself trading, worked at large companies, and didn't really have didn't really pay for education or course like from a company per se, but he went to school, learned, did everything himself, and then he came and said, what is the best? What are some of the things that I would have loved to have? As I was learning how to trade. And I think that he accomplished that, and that was his idea of putting Beeline together, is what are some of the things that I would have had. And I did it. I went through Beeline. Before started working here at the Apiary Fund, I never placed a trade in my life. It's been probably about 8 years since I've been here. And now I'm consistently profitable month over month and climbing the levels, right? And so I'm pretty much a solid testament that if anybody can do it, you can do it, right? And so I love the opportunity to sit down, help, and kind of what prompted me to say let's do this video was because we just had a couple boot camps. We have, and if you're not familiar with what a boot camp is, we have a bunch of them, but the one that we are mainly just talking about today is we have a Beeline boot camp where you come in and we work with you one-on-one to help you achieve the education that's required in order to jump from gold or from silver to gold or whatnot in order to get you funded that much faster. We also have like trading for income for people who want to make more money than what they're making, investing for wealth boot camps. We have these boot camps where people come in and fly into us, and I get the opportunity to shake hands, meet with you guys. In fact, we have a few of you guys here that I've met. I don't know who's on chat or whatever, but there's a few of you guys that says, yeah, I've been able to help you. So. That's what really this is about. It's about getting to help you guys get to that next level. And so specifically talking about Beeline, it's broken up into three. As a trader, you can trade basically three ways. You can be a scalper, you can be a swing trader or a day trader, or you can be a position trader. And that really is whatever suits you, your time schedules, and whatever is best for you. Now, the Beeline, we don't know what kind of trader you're going to be. We don't know what kind of trader that you are, so we kind of expose you to everything. In fact, I was just looking at, I think in Silver 1, we ask you to place 3 trades under 3 minutes. That's a scalping technique. But also in Silver 1, we ask you to make 15 pips on at least 5 trades that last longer than 60 minutes, which is not a scalping technique, right? Or get 100 pips or 25 pips on 5 trades in 24 hours. And so that's more of a day trading strategy. And then we have a position strategy where you have to go for 100 pips. You're not going to get 100 pips as a scalper. Very rare as a day trader, but as a position. And so we kind of teach you all the different techniques that are out there so that you can kind of lean and gravitate to one. And one of the common concerns or questions that I get a lot is, why do they teach me, why do I have to do this if that's not the way I trade? Well, it's because it's exposure and market conditions change at any time. And so let's start with maybe taking a couple questions here because I know there's a little bit of a lag with YouTube, and so I want to make sure we're getting to your questions. Then I'll chime in and maybe, so if the questions aren't proposed in the question, I'll come up with some of the more popular ones that I get all the time, but they're probably going to be here.
Do we want to take them just from the top down?
Sure.
So Ashley Neal asks, will your trading platform ever be compatible with Google Chromebooks?
Oh, I only want to take the questions that I like. I'm just kidding, Ashley. That's a great question. Yeah, absolutely. We've been working on that. It's been a work in progress for quite some time. As you know, that a lot of trading platforms have been Windows. In the past, they've been really Windows centric. And so we have a development team that is right now, as we speak, working on a way to where it's just internet-based or web platform. And so that's something that we're looking forward to rolling out in the near future. I don't have a time frame on that, but it is something that we're actively working on. Great question, thank you.
Grant asks, are you willing to share the number of traders who are funded at $250,000?
So as you guys can probably appreciate, when we start talking about numbers and how much money is being made, all that kind of stuff, because it is private money, because it's private fund, we basically we can't disclose wage claims. We can't do anything like that because then it puts us in kind of a gray area, if you will. And so I can tell you that we have traders at all levels. But we have huge and tight disclosures that say this is private money. So everything needs to be private versus like a public hedge fund or a publicly traded company where everything is public. And so we have a lot of gray area where we don't want to cross because then we get into a lot of red tape and we just simply don't want to mess with that. But I can tell you that we have traders on all levels. Also, I can tell you that if you're looking to become a professional trader, you don't need $250,000 in your account to trade with. Yeah, $250,000 is awesome. But as for me, my first goal as I started out was, can I make a credit card payment with my trading income? I think Sean even challenges some people, can you buy lunch with your starting out? Can you pay for lunch today? You know, can you be consistent? You know, I started out, can I make a credit card payment? Then I went to a car payment. Then I went to a house payment. And then finally, am I making more trading than I am at my day job, right? And so that's kind of the natural progression of things. And so, you know, you can imagine my goal is 1% a day trading, and on $250,000 of which, you know, I can tell you guys I'm not there, working towards that. That's a lot of money, you know, for an average person. 1% on 250,000. Now, if you're in that income class, great, but the average American isn't. And so, in order to be profitable, you can even see Sean. He makes a great income just on a $50,000 account. And so, I just wanted to set expectations that yes, people are in the $250,000 account. Yes, they are killing it, but you don't need to set your sights on that in order to become a professional or profitable trader. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great question, though.
Mark Gerchman asks, what are the tougher achievements in Silver 3 and beyond?
Mark, that is such a great question. In fact, everybody that comes to one of our Beeline boot camps gets one of these achievement booklets and a bunch of notes and all that, and so I grabbed it because it's been a minute since I've been in there, but on some of the tougher ones, honestly, the biggest one that I get a lot is maintaining that expectancy and having more wins than losses. And so once you get past, let's see, was it Silver 1? Is that what he said, John?
Yes.
So once you kind of get past Silver 2, that's kind of what you're doing. But
Silver 3.
Or Silver 3. Silver 2 has a couple tough ones, and I'm going to just take a look right now and see if I can tell you exactly what it is. Silver 3 has emoji tag 25 trades. That's hard to put a little emotion on 25 trades. I'm just kidding, Zach. But honestly, the biggest thing in Silver 2 and above is making sure that you have a win-loss ratio. No, wins are greater than your losses, that you've done that in over 100 or 200 trades, and that your expectancy is in the positive. And that's really the biggest hurdle for a lot of people. Looking at some criteria here for I don't know if anybody else in Silver 2 or Silver 3, maybe they have maybe they have an answer to what was tough for them. 5 recovery trades, 5 recovery profit trades, 5 days with 5 profitable trades in a row. You know, for me, it was that expectancy of just having more wins than losses. And having your expectancy be positive, right? And so for 30 days or for 100 trades or 200 trades. And so that really is just actually practicing, putting into practice of everything that we've taught you up to that point, right? So interesting fact, though, is that if you can make it to Silver 2, if you can make it to Silver 2, about 85%, a little bit higher than 85% of the people get funded once they hit Silver 2. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's like once I get to Silver 2, I'm a profitable trader, and now it's all downhill. although it does take a little bit of time because you got to have that expectancies, right? But that's a really good stat, is that if you can stick with it to Silver 2, you're pretty much in line to unlock your funded account.
Yeah.
So, anything else, or do you have any questions?
Well, we've got plenty of questions here.
Okay, great.
Is this one too silly, or skip that one, or what do you think?
Hello, everybody.
I'm not Amish, unless they were asking you.
Yeah, John's. Maybe I know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
a weird one.
What are the breakdowns of traders at all 4 levels of funding?
So I think that might be the same question. But the breakdown of levels. So you got the 10,000, 25,000, or 50,000, 100,000, and 250,000, and that's level 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So those are the different levels, and then each level that you increase, you actually increase your commission size. And so everybody starts out at 60-40 split, then it goes to 70, 75, and then finally 80 at level 4, where you get to keep 80% of your profits.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. Not bad for trading somebody else's money in the market.
Here's a question I think I can answer. Howard Templehoff asks, is there a cost for boot camp? Yes.
As you can imagine, there are costs, and each boot camp is different. And so I'd probably say if you're interested, reach out to our support staff to see which one. Don't really want to get on that live, but you can see that you come in, you spend an entire week. We put you up in the hotel. Food, lodging, everything is covered in that cost. And then it is a boot camp. I mean, they get you up at 1 in the morning to trade the London session. They get you up at 6 a.m. to trade, and you're just trading the entire time. You get to sit with our head trader, watch him trade for hours on end. And so, but there is a cost associated with that. And like I said, each one is different. So you just give us a call or chat with support to figure out which one works best with your schedule or whatever.
That was something else interesting about myself coming into Apiary Fund, learning about the boot camps, and you ask yourself, like, is it worth it? Because we're there, as employees, we're there working, every day, and boy, like, I have to hand it to the people who go to boot camp, because that is hard work. It's no joke, but you come out with a lot of knowledge, like, it's just nonstop knowledge cramming. So
yeah, I mean, it
definitely worth it.
It is like drinking from the fire hose,
Mm-hmm.
And so we got a lot of people that are brand new to trading, which I would probably recommend that you're at least a silver before you attend a boot camp. So get to silver just so that you have that, so you're not totally drinking from the fire hose, right? Just starting out. How do I place a trade? It's probably not the question that you want to ask at boot camp.
Yeah. How does one enroll in the Beeline? I imagine you go to apiaryfund.com and register?
Yep. Yeah. Good one.
Hey.
So that's it. I mean, Beeline is included with for all of our Apiary Fund memberships. It is a step-by-step approach, which, in my opinion, takes somebody from zero knowledge to a profitable trader in the shortest amount of time. If you put in 1 to 2 hours a day going through the education, placing trades, all that kind of stuff, it's geared towards you can accomplish that in about 90 days. You can go from start to finish in about 90 days. Now, if you have experience, it's going to be a little quicker. If you don't, just starting out, you don't have the time to put in, it could take a little longer. And so for me, I've seen people all over the board. I can tell you one really cool story about my dad. My dad struggled with computers, being retired, wasn't really computer literate, but I say, hey, Dad, when I started Apiary Fund, he really got to check this out because you're retired, you could use the supplemental income, all that kind of stuff. And so he actually went through the Beeline process, and it took him 8 months to get funded. And it took him 8 months to get funded, but in his first month that he was funded, he was able to make enough money to recoup all the costs that he had paid up to that point. And so it is an investment of time, it's an investment of education, but that investment, as you know, we're all here, can pay huge dividends for the rest of your life. So kind of a cool story about my dad. And now I think him and I swap texts every day about, hey, I did this in trading or whatever, and so it's really fun to have that support for me as well.
I'll bet. One question I had is, so I'm pretty sure most of you have gotten to this point, but you find out your trader profile. Like, are you methodical, analytical, intuitive, aggressive? I'm intuitive and aggressive, and it seems like there are obvious advantages to aggressive, methodical, analytical, but I'm kind of high on intuitive and aggressive. So, like, what are the benefits to being intuitive? Are there any, like...
So it's a great question. So I think what you're referring to is one of the things that we do with all of our traders right out of the gate. The very first part of Beeline is taking an investor profile to find out your style. Are you aggressive? Are you methodical? Are you analytical? What do you tend to lean towards, so that we can help tailor or fit you into a strategy or game plan, if you will, that kind of best suits your needs. And so you're asking the question, you seem to think, you know, how, if I'm intuitive, what's a good way to approach the market? Is that kind of...
Yeah, well, so like, what are the advantages of the intuitive trader profile?
Gotcha.
And yeah, absolutely, that would be helpful.
So I am intuitive. That's my main trait, I guess you might say, is intuitive. And so when I get into the market, it helps me because I start to get a feel for the market. And if you've heard that, your intuitive traders will kind of, I'm just jumping in. I need to get in. I got to get in, but I'm not going to get in at everything I got. But I need to get in so that the market pulls me in, so I can start to get that feel for the market.
Gotcha.
Sean's that way a little bit, where he places a trade, so that now he's like, I'm focused on trading now, and he gets a feel for the market. And sometimes you really can feel the market, and it's like everything's going in my favor. And sometimes you're like, everything is against me right now. Those days, just cut your losses and get out until you meet a market that you connect with, right? And so you don't have to trade in every market. You don't have to trade every day. You don't have to trade every condition, but you should trade when the markets are in alignment with the way that you like to trade.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I know every trader profile has its own set of like disadvantages, things that you need to be careful with if you're aggressive. But so like intuitive, like that's fairly obvious, but that's interesting to know the sort of advantages of the intuitive side as well. Jerry Benjamins asks, can the 5 days in a row tasks be done including a weekend if you trade on Sunday? I believe so.
No, actually, that's a great question, Jerry, which comes up. 5 days in a row, I would recommend starting that on a Sunday. But the Saturday, the Friday when a market is closed, yeah, that does not transition over. So you do have to have that 5 days in a row, that task completed for Sunday through Friday. So I would recommend starting on that in day one. So great question, though.
Let's see. Another personal question I had is, do you have any, like, could you maybe give an example of a strategy for reducing losses? Because that's something that I'm kind of running through right now.
Awesome. Great question, John. I appreciate that. A lot of people, and ultimately that's what it comes down to. When you're trading, when you're going through Beeline, when you're going through especially gold, silver and gold. And I want to make a quick point too, so that if you don't know this, that when you do reach silver, you actually have to switch accounts, because from copper to bronze, you're trading in one demo account. Silver, you get another demo account, and gold, you get another demo account. And the main reason is we don't care what, I shouldn't say we don't care. We don't pay close attention to people in copper and bronze, because we know that for the most part, you're just starting out. Play with it. Press all the buttons, figure it out, blow it up. It doesn't really matter, right? But when you hit that silver, then we're starting. Okay, now it tells us, hey, this person's serious. Also, we need to start helping you build your strategy, your style, and we start monitoring your trades at that point. And so we want to make sure that everybody is starting. It doesn't do you any good to continue trading in your bronze account when you need to go into your silver. And so just be mindful of that when you do hit silver, you also need to change your demo accounts. That's a really good question about how to mitigate your losses, right? And that is the $50 million question, right? If every trader out there could be like, I win more than I lose, one, it would be easy. everybody would be doing it. And so that is really where the education and skill set comes into play. But there are a couple things that I've shared with people that they've said has helped them in the past. Maybe you guys know this, maybe you don't know this, but I actually wanted to kind of show you here. Let me open up Alveo real fast. All right, so as you can see here, I got Alveo. What I did is I went into my account and I placed a trade long and I placed a trade short, right? So I kind of hedged my trades. Now, it doesn't look like they've gone anywhere, but I did that because I wanted one trade to be losing, because I wanted to kind of show you how what I do that helps me to mitigate my losses on my losing trades. And so some of you guys may know this, some of you guys may not, but it's a simple technique that I use, and I tend to, it really is enforced with the Wobble Technique. If you guys are familiar with that, this is a practice that we teach too in the Wobble Technique. But let's say for example's sake that I'm losing, and I'm only losing 1.5 pips right now, so it's not that great of an example. I thought the market would move a little bit more on me than it has. But let's say that it's that 1 pip is 10 pips, and I'm losing 10 pips and I want to get out. Well, let's see, this is on the buy side. I'm losing. So one of the simplest techniques that I do that helps me mitigate my losses is if the market is running away from me. Well, I don't want to just simply close out of that trade. If it goes 10 pips, 15 pips, I simply don't want to close out of that trade if it's not going in a solid down or up trajectory, basically where you want to hit that ejector seat. But if it's climbing down, going up, and climbing down and going up, that's a great way and opportunity to mitigate some of those losses by simply saying, you know what, I'm in a loss and it's not recovering, so I want to take a little bit of my loss. And so what I'll do is I'll take my take profit and I'll drag it below my order line to that next support level, or that next resistance level right here. And so I'll put it right there where I think the market is likely to hit, and it's going to hit that in a second, but I'll drag my take profit below my order line. And so when it hits, you can see it just took me out at a loss, but a lot less of a loss than had I waited for it to continue to go down and down and down. So I wait for it to come back up to the support, or to where support is, and take me out completely of that loss. And so that's a technique that I use to help mitigate my losses. And so if you aren't using that technique, I suggest try it. Bring your stop loss below your order, so you're using that as bring your take profit below your order, so you're using that as your stop loss. As opposed to bringing your stop loss up, because the moment you can't bring your stop loss up above your order line, but you can bring your take profit below. Hopefully that makes sense. If anybody has any questions about that, I'd love to answer some more in detail. But that is one of the techniques that I learned early on that really turned my trading around, was I don't have to take large losses. If I'm in a losing position, I can get out with minimizing that loss, right? Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
That's a very, very helpful technique, yeah.
All right, let's go back to some more questions that, out there that you guys might have.
So I was primarily going from the earliest questions. Now I'm kind of hitting the lower, the more recent ones. Want everybody to feel validated, like they're being heard. So Ward Danner asks, did you only use Apiary Fund training, or did you learn by using additional resources?
Ward, that is a great question. And to be perfectly honest with you, I just went through Beeline. There was a lot of, when I, at Beeline, watched the videos, can I say there was I didn't pay for any other course for sure. I may have watched other YouTube videos here and there, but for the most part, it was just Beeline and Apiary Fund videos for me, right? So I think it's for me, it was eye-opening because I never traded before in my life. And so that's kind of how I grew up in my trading career. And I'm sure there's a lot of other techniques and strategies that are very helpful. But for me, Apiary Fund got me to profitability in the shortest amount of time that I feel. So
I'm in the middle of Silver 1, and I've explored other like YouTube videos. And the thing is, like, Beeline to funding is so thorough and exhaustive that everything else that I've looked at has been redundant. So I think that Beeline to funding does such a good job because I don't really see the need to go to an outside resource at this point. So I think Beeline to funding is plenty.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm going to preface all of this with we might be a little bit biased wearing Apiary Fund shirts. Like I said, there might be some other good stuff that's out there. But Apiary Fund, as far as I know, and correct me, anybody, please correct me if I'm wrong, but gives you the education and the opportunity to trade our money, where other companies, traditional companies out there, will either give you the education, but you still have to fund an account yourself. And so kind of, again, back to that win-win scenario you were talking about.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't. I'm sure maybe there's a question in here, John, and if you see it, great. But I'd be remiss if I did not answer this question, because it seems to be one of the biggest questions out there from a lot of people going through Beeline to funding is, how do I get 50 pips or 100 pips, or how do I get what we call 5-25-5, and that's basically 5 trades with 25 pips on them. It was 5-25-24, I think, and it's open for 24 hours. And so a lot of times people get hung up on that specific achievement, if you will. And so I want to tell you guys that kind of help you guys to get through that. If you're not there, you will be there. If you're there, you're probably like, yes, how do I achieve this? And honestly, the best way to achieve that goal is to find a currency pair that tends to move 50, 100 pips, right? And I can tell you right now that will currency pairs like the Euro USD, the majors, USD JPY, will they move 50? Will they move 100 pips? Yes, they certainly can. But they don't do it every single day. You don't see 50 to 100 pip moves every single day on that pair. And so one of the things that I tell people is that if you're looking for that type of, to get that achievement, look for a pair that tends to move that much during the day. So a day. And one of the most volatile pairs out there, I believe, is the pound Kiwi. So the JPB to
the GBP and
NZD. Thank you. Thank you. Just had a brain moment there for a second. So that pair actually moves quite a bit, and so that's probably one that you might want to look at to achieve that goal of setting take profit. One of the things that I would do, because I would also tend to do this because it does tend to move a lot, where you need to have the trade open for at least 24 hours, and you don't want to hit that goal inside of 24 hours. And so what I would recommend doing is setting is placing a trade without a take profit, come back the next day after it's seasoned for 24 hours.
Okay.
And then place your take profit at that point for the 24 or 25 pips that you need to get past that achievement. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that helps people out there. And that's kind of what I tell people to do, is find that pair that moves. Don't put a take profit on it. Let it go for 24 hours. Now, obviously, you want to trade at like a 0.01 and let it move and see what happens, right? And so that's a great way to overcome that achievement. So hopefully that can help some of you guys to find that pair that has good volume or that's moving at 50 to 100 pips. So.
Howard Templehoff, hey, there you are again. Does the tech fee go down when you reach Silver 2?
Ooh, Howard, you're full of great questions. I'm so glad that you asked that. Absolutely. So our technology fee at the Apiary Fund is $97 a month, and as you go through Beeline, so you're just doing the things that you want to do, that we need you to do in order to get into a funded account, your tech fee does reduce, and it goes down. I believe once you hit Silver 2, it goes down by $10. Once you hit gold 1, it goes down by another $10. And then once you get funded, gold level 3, it goes down by another $10, which is a $30 a month discount just for going through Beeline and just for getting funded. Your technology fee continues to get reduced. And so that kind of helps us to incentivize you guys, because obviously you guys want to be funded. We want you guys to be funded. So let's get there as quickly as possible, so that we love the 20th of every month, because that's when Sean writes the checks out, and that's for the fund, right?
Man, what's with all these serious questions? Don't you want to know my favorite color?
John, what is your favorite color?
Today I would say sort of a pastelish red. Yeah.
Somebody read into that. What does that mean? We're not going to analyze his dreams here, though.
Let's see. Abdelhak Boyana asks, any information about trading for income training?
Great question. I know we have a trading for income camp coming up. Anybody in this room know when that is, like month? I want to say November, but again, you can call support and income.
The cruise?
No, trading for income wealth. All right, so I know we have it coming up. We don't do them like every month, but I think that we just did one 2 weeks ago. And it was a great experience. And so we only hold them to about 30 people, so maximum amount of 30 people, because one, we do it all at the hotel, so we're in the hotel conference room, and two, we want to be able to have one-on-one time with everybody, and if we had more than 30 people, we simply couldn't do that. So, great question though.
I have one that might be kind of tough, if you're up for it. Doi Fong Ta asks, how about if I achieved the gold level 3 and got funded, but then after that I stopped trading for a couple of months and came back to trade? So do I need to pay $97 each month?
That is a great question too. So we do have a lot of traders that go through the education, and for whatever reason life happens, and so they need to put it on pause, or for whatever reason. But we're always glad to have you back wherever you stopped, whether it was you were silver funded in a $100,000 account, wherever you stopped, that's where you'll pick up. The only disclaimer that I have with that is if you've stopped for a length amount of time, if you were funded, sometimes our risk fund manager just wants to put you in a pre-fund account for a couple weeks to make sure that you haven't lost a step. So that's and then a couple weeks, kind of like a pre-fund demo, if you will, and then he bumps you right back to where you were. As far as paying the technology fee, no, you start where you were at when you left. So we never penalize people for coming and going, because we understand life happens. This is a journey. The best thing I can liken it to is like going to college, right? I mean, not there. We're all a little bit older. We're not in our youth. We're not 20 years old that all we have to do all day long is go to school. I wish that was the case, and we could knock this out in 2-3 years, right? But I've asked a lot of professional traders in my time here at the Apiary Fund, got to meet a lot of people inside of Apiary Fund, outside of Apiary Fund, and one of my favorite questions to ask professional traders is, how long did it take you before you knew that all you needed was an internet connection to make money? And I get various responses from that, but if I averaged it all out, everybody usually says between 3 and 5 years of trading, educating, but the thing that they always tell me is that I wish that I would have had something like the Beeline to condense that learning curve down in the shortest amount of time. But I am sitting here to tell you that even if you get funded, that's just when the journey starts. You need to put time, effort, and energy into this, and if you can't because of life, well, you're not penalized. We don't penalize you that way, because life happens. We know, we get it. But come back when you're ready, and we'll start you right where you were at, pick you up, and hopefully help you to become the professional trader we know you can be.
Let's see. We have a couple here. Brad McLean asks, are there any suggestions on what chart time to use?
That's a good question, Brad, and it really depends on your schedule. In the Apiary Fund member area, we actually have a chart and for your time zone, your time area, whatever. But I would highly recommend that if you can trade during the Euro USD session when both of those are open, that's a great time to see volatility. And if it's in the evening, you probably want to trade the JPY or the Audi session because those tend to have the most volatility. So it depends on your schedule when you can fit in the time to trade, but you want to kind of trade the pairs that the markets are open because you'll see more volatility during that time. Now, going through Beeline, said boot camp. Going through Beeline, we ask that you trade in all conditions. And so one of the biggest challenges that some people have is trading that Euro Open, which for us, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. So you got to wake up, place a few trades. And so we do that with you guys during the boot camp because this seems to be one that everybody tends to miss. So set your alarm clocks. Another tip, set your alarm clock for when the Euro opens. Wake up, place a couple trades, and pass that achievement off.
This one might be more of a tech question, but Merrick Simmons asks, when will Alveo have audible alerts and conditional orders?
It's a great question. It's in the works too. So coming out with our features and updates, we release. We have a tech team that works on that. And so one of the most requested features is that you can program, if you're smart, you can program it yourself. Right now, we give you the ability to do that. I'm not tech.
I was going to say, if you're smart.
I can't do that. I can't program EAs, but you can do that inside of Alveo. But that is, those are features that are on the radar. And so we're building. I think top priority is getting that web client up. This is what we're calling it, so that it can work on the website, and then going back to adding in a lot of the bells and whistles. But great question.
Another maybe tricky one. Peterson Kirsten asks, how are foreigners paid?
Good question. So with Apiary Fund, you're actually here in the States, you're actually a 1099 contracted employee, and so you receive a 1099 at the end of the year. If you're outside of the United States, you're going to be responsible for your own taxes. Generally, we pay via PayPal or other methods to pay people outside the United States. We also can send you guys a check if that's preferable. Whatever method works best for you, that's what we've known to do. So maybe we'll just take a couple more. This is kind of getting lengthy, okay. So take a couple more, and then hopefully, guys, this has been beneficial for you guys. Hopefully, you've seen a little bit of the insides and the goings on, a little bit deeper of what Apiary Fund has to offer, who we are, and at the end of the day, my goal for doing this is to show everybody out there that we really, really want you guys to get into a funded account, and we're here to help you to do whatever it takes to get you guys there. You want to be there, we want you guys to be there. So what is it going to take? What do we need to do to help you? And in fact, we have a whole department called our pre-fund managers that's what they do. They're designed to get people into funded accounts. So a couple more questions and then we'll call it.
Angela Ablett says, green is my favorite color.
Oh,
thank you, Angela.
That's not a question, but that's a good statement. I like green too, especially when you're trading.
Yeah, tying back into that favorite color thing. Ooh, hey, here's a good one. Any idea when the Alveo phone app is coming out? We don't already have one, do we?
No, there's the trade on the app. That'll be the same thing as the web client. So when that comes out, you'll be able to trade on the app and see your statistics and all that kind of stuff. So,
Norma Jenner says John is a keeper.
Oh, that is not a question, Norma.
That's important information, though.
Thanks, Norma, for being kind. He needs that self-esteem boost.
I don't know what this means, but oh wait, no, hold on, never mind.
Is there a tough one in there?
Quick recap. Can you get funded before achieving Gold 3 if you show exceptional results? I don't think so.
Yeah, so that is the process. That is the process that we have that everybody needs to go through. If you are a good trader, you're going to get there a lot faster than somebody just starting out. And so I wouldn't let that deter you. If you already know how to trade, you can whiz through and complete the tasks a lot faster. I've seen it done really quickly, and I've also seen other people take a lot of time with it. But I promise you that we'll never give up on you. We'll be there every step of the way to hold your hand, whether it takes you 2-3 months or 2 to 3 years. We will get you to become a profitable trader if that's your goal, and you stick with it, and you do. I think a lot of trading is upon the trader, where you need to put in the time, effort, and energy in order to get there. So.
The other thing from my perspective, I think, is my ego can get ahead of me sometimes. Like, my nickname here at the office is the Pip Slayer, and there was a period of time for like maybe a few weeks where like I was killing it. I was getting awesome pips, but then I started to encounter different market conditions and different challenges, and the level of pips went down, and then I started losing, and it's like, okay, like I really needed to start leaning on the Beeline to funding again, because you get some new tools and you do great, but then you realize that your new toolkit still doesn't have all of the tools. So I think that even if you have a great level of success, you need to, like you said, finish the Beeline so that you have the complete tool set. My perspective.
Yeah, no, great comment. I appreciate you saying that, for sure. Guys, I think we're going to wrap up here, but hopefully this was beneficial. Hopefully this was intuitive for you guys. One of the things that, if you do like it and love it, put a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, all that stuff that you hear all the time on YouTube. We're no different. It helps us, because we kind of are behind the scenes, manage the video. It helps us to know which videos are the most liked, and so which to do more of. Instead of picking up a phone and calling you guys, hey, did you like that? It helps us to kind of know, did you like this one? Did you like that one? Obviously, everybody loves when Sean trades. We can't do that every single time because of market conditions and his schedule. But at the same token, we want to really answer the questions that our traders have or that are struggling with, and hopefully help them get past their barriers, and so we can get more people funded. And so hopefully this has helped. If you guys like more tips, tricks, whatever, let us know in the comments what you'd like to see. But if you really like this video, want more about, hey, there's also Beeline, let's dive into, or maybe we do a Silver 2 one or a Silver 3 one, and just really go into all the different aspects of it, we can do that too. We just kind of want to make sure that we're giving you guys what it is that will be most beneficial for you. So that being said, John, did you have anything else that you wanted to add before we sign off?
Just kind of echoing what you said, like, definitely make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe. We actually do go through and read whatever you guys post, so don't ever think that you're not being heard.
All right. Hey, thank you guys for being with us, for spending the last 45 minutes with us or so. Appreciate it, and we'll be back next week on our live, and we'll just we'll pick out what hopefully Sean will be back and be able to help you guys along your journey. So with that, thank you, and we'll see you next week.